Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where we share stories about folks that are mistaken for employees by irate customers. And today's first story is, I just wanted to eat my Shabu Shabu. Recently, I've become addicted to the little authentic Asian restaurants in my neighborhood. I also have found that I adore Japanese hot pot, also known as Shabu Shabu. Now, the owners of my local Shabu Shabu place are a lovely older generation couple, likely in their 60s, with bare minimum knowledge of technology and minimal ability to speak English. They do speak Korean and Japanese fluently, as the wife is from Korea and the husband from Japan. This becomes important. I don't speak fluent Japanese and no Korean, but the owners are smart and created a menu with pictures for their English-only guests. I love eating there. I go about one time every 2 to 3 weeks, and I definitely will pick this hot pot place over all the other ones around. I love that it's fresh, and I've gotten to know the owner's sister and kids, who work in this family-run business too, pretty well. In fact, the owner's sister is going to culinary school, and she often likes to test new recipes she's trying out with me. Food is truly a universal language for us and most of the neighborhood. Now, while this place is authentic, that also means that a majority of their customers come in because they know exactly what they want and when. Shabu Shabu is mainly a self-serve kind of thing. You can look it up if you want more info. And the place is basically a seat yourself after you inform people you're there. They will come for soup, meat, and drink orders, but everything else is self-serve with a near buffet style for veggies and add-ons to the hot pot. So I went yesterday with my mom and we really enjoyed our time. It was a Friday happy hour, and because I'm a loyal customer, I got a nice discount and no charge on my sodas. Anyway, while my mom's sitting eating her soup, I get up to get some freshly made white rice that the owner has set up with a nearby pot for customers to go grab from. In a small bowl, of course. I'm making my bowl when the wild Karen and her kid, about 12 to 14 years of age, enters through the front door. I start spending my time picking out a topping for the rice, which they left sauces and whatnot next to the rice for us to do too. The wild Karen begins making a huffing noise. When I glance behind me, I see that the owner's daughter is still prepping a dessert on the patio for a couple, and that the other server, his sister, is loaded down with multiple dishes of cold meat to set out at the different tables for waiting customers. I shrug and finish prepping my rice before heading over to my mom. I didn't know the wild Karen had followed me. She waited until I was moving to sit to grab me, literally grab me by the arm. Karen, where the heck are you going? You need to seat my child and I. Me, I don't work here. You just need to get a table and someone will come eventually. Karen, what the heck kind of joke service is this? You need to serve me like you did this fatso. She pointed at my mom. There were clearly 2 set up plates and drinks and everything, so it was kinda obvious that I had just been at the table eating. Annoyed and not wanting to deal with her, I start trying to pull my arm away. Me, lady, let go. Karen, not until you seat me. Me, lady, I just want to eat my dinner, leave me alone. Karen went ballistic and begins to yell at me loudly. I won't type a repeat, but there were words given out that no child should hear from their parents, including racial slurs. I pull my arm free at the same time the owner's sister comes to stop her, and crazy Karen scratched down the side of my arm in full view of everyone. Not enough to bleed, but enough to leave a mark. Sister of the owner started yelling at woman in Korean. Soon enough, the entire family is yelling at her in Korean. I just kinda stood there staring. My mom looked like something funny was happening while she pulled me away. The commotion called the security guard, who likes to park their cart just outside in the main entrance to the strip mall. The owner in his broken English had the woman and her kid kicked out. She threw such a fit that the guard banned her from the strip mall for a week on the way out. When she finally drove off, I chatted with the owner's daughter a bit, who promised me a sweet ice cream treat for after dinner for the trouble. When I sat down, my mother started laughing. I asked her why she was laughing, and she explained that during the confrontation, the owner's wife, daughter, and sister were using their Korean to name-call the woman, the most creative, offensive name she'd ever heard. When the owner's sister came with apologetic ice cream after our meal, my mom told her in Korean that she loved the food and show. Turns out that my blonde, blue-eyed, and clearly white mother was the only person in the entire restaurant, aside from the family, that spoke enough Korean to understand what they were yelling, and it was all creative insults. They didn't even try to talk about serving her. All that was said was that she scratched me, one of the best customers they had, and they full-on started a contest on who could insult her the best. Hence why my mom had a hard time keeping from laughing. By the end of what my mom had translated, everyone in the place with us was laughing and back to the happy mood. I am so glad I enjoy this place so much and can't wait until next week. Mom and I are planning on taking our family friend there when she flies in. From South Korea. The second story is, listen, I'm gonna get you fired and make sure you never have a job. So this will be my first post to Reddit and the I don't work here thing. Let me introduce the characters of my interesting meeting with a very entitled lady. Me equals M, EL equals entitled lady, PE equals poor employee that somehow lived through this, and PM equals poor manager that called it a Tuesday. So let me begin. This happened back in the year 1999, and I was 19 years old, in the Army, and I looked nothing like an employee at this local Walmart. So I had just got my very first career job, which is the Army. Then, I was excited about being in the Army. With that said, I was able to rent my own place and was stoked at being a real adult. Or so I thought. So when I finally got to leave to go on vacation, or leave as they call that in the military, I decided to head to Walmart and buy a bed and a TV, so I could just veg out in my place with my own rules. So, dressed in my PT uniform, I went to Walmart. As I was walking up and down the aisles, this older lady asked me for a bit of help to load a microwave into her cart. Being the totally nice guy I am, I said no problem. That was mistake 1. Mistake 2, I told her to have a good day. As I returned to my mission, someone, entitled lady, tapped on my shoulder. Immediately, she demanded I get her something off the shelf. The only reason I said no is because she snapped her fingers at me like I was some kind of servant. I told her no and went about my business. Mistake number 3. She started up a huge storm of cussing at me and telling me I don't belong in her country anyways. For context, I'm a very dark brown, and my hair is straight. A lot of people think I'm Mexican or from the Middle East. I'm not, I'm half black and white. Anyways, as she is screaming at me, and I am simply tuning her out, which in my retrospect, I should have told her to stop this, poor employee shows up, and she is instantly her next target. This entitled lady ripped into this poor girl who was seconds from crying. Again, I step in and tell her that she's a rude little person. I was a bit more colorful, but I'm keeping this post PG-13. Just as I finish my tirade of telling her off, in steps this poor manager. Again, the lady goes into graphic detail how I called her a string of bad words and she wanted me fired. The poor manager looks at me, and I assume he's ex-military, and says, "Madam, he doesn't work here, and he's clearly in the Army," hence the words on his clothes. She turns bright red with anger or embarrassment. After about 25 seconds of quiet, she looks me in the eye and says she wants my boss's number so she can get me fired, etc., etc. I obliged and give her my captain's number. Then she says, "Once I learn your name, I'm gonna make sure you never get a job in this state again." I nearly died from laughing. I walk away thinking it's over. Boy, was I wrong. It ended up being funny as heck, but just wow. About 4 days after this, I've kind of forgotten about the whole ordeal, at first. I then get a call from my CO asking for me to see him ASAP. I get down to his office when, blow me over, the entitled lady is in his office saying, "Yes, that's him, now fire him." My CO has her leave so I can tell my half. This ended up being like a 3-day investigation. The only reason why so long is because they needed footage from that Walmart, which clearly shows I did nothing wrong. So a day or so later, it's me, my CO, and the entitled lady sitting in his office. He explains that not only was I not getting punished, but we have requested a restraining order against the entitled lady. She lost her mind and was escorted off base. Luckily for me, I've yet to run back into her. I do hope you guys find my one interesting day to be awesome. The third story is, lady tries to get me fired when I don't clean up a rotting carcass for her. I don't know if this exactly fits here, but oh well. Cast, K equals Karen, and me equals me. So I'm working at my local fire department in their internship program. My job is to put up beach flags and check the flags regularly based on the weather. If you don't know what I mean by beach flags, they're colored flags that symbolize the level of danger that the water poses. Green equals safe, yellow equals caution, and red equals don't swim. I live in a tourist town along one of the Great Lakes, so there are a lot of entitled tourists that visit. The process of checking the flags is to drive by the beaches and evaluate if the color of the flag matches the current water conditions. The story starts with me going about my normal business. I'm driving along one of the beaches just doing my job. It was a particularly hot day out that day, so there were many people swimming. As I'm about to leave and go to the next beach, I get signaled down by the Karen. I pull over and see what she needs from me. Karen: "Hello? Excuse me, you look like a city worker, can you help me?" I'm driving a mule, which is a glorified golf cart, and wearing a reflective vest, so I guess that's where she got that from. Me, cluelessly: "Sure, what is it?" Karen: "I've been calling the city maintenance department for the past hour, trying to get someone down here, and you just about drove away. Your supervisor will be hearing about this." Me: "I'm sorry about that, but I don't work for the city. What seems to be the problem?" I guess I might work for the city, but I'm officially employed by the fire department. Karen: "There's a dead fish on the shore barely 10 feet from where my family is trying to enjoy our vacation. Get rid of it." Me: "I can't take care of that, but I can try and get a hold of who can." Karen: "No, I've been calling for an hour now. My family's vacation is being ruined because of you now." Me: "I'm sorry, but this isn't my job. I'm not a maintenance person. I put up the beach flags." Karen: "I don't care. Go clean that up before I decide you don't work here anymore." I then gave her the number to our department and promptly left her in the dust. While I was leaving and heading to the next beach, I gave my boss a call and a heads up about the momzilla that was about to call him, and decide I don't work for him anymore. My boss answered her call shortly after I warned him about her, and he chewed her out for harassing me and thinking that she could fire any teenager she wanted to. Him and I had a good laugh about that later on. The fourth story is, "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and Howe." For a couple years, I worked doing tech consulting and support, and one of the things you have to deal with when you're self-employed are sick days and vacations. I mean, you can tell your clients to F off and leave you alone, but they don't like it much. Luckily enough, I had a former classmate in a similar position, Valentino. I covered Val's trips to Europe, he covered my wilderness camping, and we billed each other. Fast forward 2 years. Val was still doing his thing, and was now doing it with actual employees. I'd gotten out of the business and taken a 9-to-5 corporate job. I'm sitting in my cubicle at work just before lunch when the phone rings with a call forwarded from my home number. You'd think for $16 a month, the phone company could forward caller ID, but no. Me, huge corp, this is Technos. "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and Howe. We're having a problem with our laser printer thing, LaserJet." Me, "I'm sorry, who were you trying to reach?" Caller, "It's the one in Mr. Cheatham's office, so this is kinda..." Me, "Who are you trying to reach?" Caller, "Oh, sorry, this isn't Valentino." Aw heck, I thought I recognized the name. It's one of his regulars, one I hated. Me, "I'm afraid you have the wrong number. The right number is 810-555-2. Caller, "Can you go slower?" Me, 8105. Caller, "Thanks." I don't think much of it. Maybe I'll extort a beer out of Val next time I see him as the penalty for playing secretary. Off to lunch. When I get back to the office, my voicemail light is blinking. "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and Howe. I must have written that number down wrong because..." Message deleted. "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and Howe again. If you could give me a call back at..." Message deleted. "Richard Cheatham here. Susan says she'd called you 3 times now and you're not answering. Give me a call back so we can discuss." Message deleted. Darn it. I call Val. Me, "Val, I've gotten 4 calls from Cheatem and Howe today looking for you." Val, "That's odd. It's been pretty quiet today. And how the heck did they get your number?" Me, "You left it with them when you went on vacation years ago. Anyway, Mr. Cheatham sounded angry on the last voicemail he left, so..." Val, "That's just great. Thanks for the heads up and ignore all their calls for the rest of the day." Thankfully, there was only one. "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and Howe. I'd just like to apologize for all the calls we made to you today. I just spoke to Valentino, and he informed us you haven't worked for him in years. Once again, our apologies, and you have a good day now." Val bought me a bunch of beers the next time I saw him, and that was the end of it. Or was it? 6 months later, I arrived at the office to a blinking voicemail light. "Hi, this is Susan with Cheatem and..." Oh, crap, sorry. Click. Thank you for your feedback and comments. See you next time.